Hi, welcome to today's video where I'll walk you through how I created a randomized image rotator function in Articulate Storyline 360. Now, creating an image carousel or a rotator is simple, but what if we want to randomize the images it shows? That's exactly what we're going to tackle today. Imagine the possibilities. You could display images on an opening screen, show random work areas, inspire learners with relevant visuals, or like me, you can keep the learner engaged while waiting for an API response. It's all about making the waiting game fun and engaging. I've got future plans to create a similar function using the DALL-E or Pexel's API. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. Now, are you ready to dive in? Before we get started, I want to quickly walk you through what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. One, image preparation. We'll gather, edit, and size the images we're going to use, ensuring they'll look good on our storyline course. 2, planning. We'll decide how many images we're using, how long each will display, and how they'll cycle. 3, variable creation. We'll set up variables in Storyline to keep track of our images and control their display. 4, image states. We'll add new states for each image in Storyline. 5, JavaScript implementation. We'll integrate JavaScript into Storyline to create a randomized image rotation. 6, timeline management. Finally, we'll set up triggers to control when and how often our script runs. So let's jump into step 1 and start preparing our images. Step 1. We start by finding relevant and fun images. Bear in mind though, not all images are the same size and may need adjustments to fit your needs. That's where Photopea comes in, a handy tool to help you create a canvas of a suitable size. For this tutorial, I'm using a canvas size of 600 by 600 pixels. Go ahead, adjust each layer and export your images. Simple, isn't it? Step 2. Make a note of the number of images and the duration you want each image to stay on the screen. For this demo, I'm using 4 images and want each to last for about 3 seconds. Step 3. By now, we've decided the images, their on-screen duration, the loop setting, and the reset function after all images are displayed. Step 4. We now create a few variables, and let me walk you through the whys and hows of this process. We need a text variable, current image, that has a default of being blank. And we need one more variable, which we'll use to store the group of image states. I call this image array, and we'll keep this blank by default as well. Moving on to step 5, we'll add the first image to the canvas, and because all of the images are the same size, this will work with minimal effort. Here's where we duplicate the state and add each new image to a new state and name them image with a number. So image 1, image 2, image 3, and image 4 are now different states with different images. I'm going to set the normal state to only show up once and only show up at the beginning of the slide. The JavaScript will run and loop through the slide timeline using the states, essentially ignoring the normal state after it appears first. The JavaScript will reference each of these images and need to be named in sequential order. So if your code doesn't work, this is an area where you can easily make a typo and could check when in debugging mode. Actually, now is when we need to dive into the JavaScript. Let's start off by creating the main JavaScript function when the timeline starts. To do this, we'll add a new trigger that will execute the JavaScript when the timeline starts. Then we'll open up the JavaScript editor and paste the code. You can grab this code from the link in the description of this video. I've set this up as a function that is called periodically throughout the timeline. This code only runs when it is called. I've made some notes in the code to describe what each section does. The most important line for you to note is this one. If you have 50 images, thus 50 image states, you'll want to update this line to include each name here. They all have to have the same beginning with a sequential order after. So if you wanted to call them picture, it would look like picture 1, picture 2, and so on. Just make sure there aren't any spaces, as the JavaScript will not work properly. All right, let's move on to step 6. Calling this function in the timeline will add a new trigger that runs the original JavaScript function. With this single line of code added, we can save this section and set it when we want to call the code. I'm going to set this up to run at 3 seconds. Now we just copy, paste, and adjust the timing for each image rotation for the duration of the timeline. Perfect. We're almost there, and then we can test out our work. The main JavaScript is pulling a random image state to display from the available group of all image states. When the JavaScript picks the random state, it's going to set the variable current image with a new state name. The current image will change each time every time the script is called. So now we're going to create a triggered event. In this new event, we want to change the state of the image we have been working on, and we want to set the state to image 1. When the variable changes, current image, and then we want to set the condition to if the current image equals image 1. Great. Now let's copy, paste, and adjust this for each image state. In my example, because I don't know when the API will come back with a response, I'm going to set the slide timeline to restart when it reaches the end. So I'm going to create one last trigger that says jump to the beginning of the timeline when the timeline ends. And to get a sense of when and what variables are changing, I'm going to put the variables into a text box like this. Adding current image equals, then we insert the reference for the current image variable. And I also want to see the image array, and instead of selecting the image reference, we can use the shortcut of wrapping the variable around the percent signs. Time for the big reveal. Let's preview this in Review 360. Remember that we can't use the normal preview function inside of Storyline because Storyline doesn't allow us to preview slides that use JavaScript. Voila, our randomized image rotator is working like a charm, don't you think? That's it, folks. This was my maiden venture into creating how-to videos using Storyline 360. In the pipeline are some exciting videos exploring ways to use AI to create engaging courses and a guide on adding Pexel images into your courses. Is there something specific you'd like to learn about? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to check out my portfolio on an 802atom.biz. And if you need personalized help, I'm just a click away on Fiverr. Until next time, happy designing and have a wonderful day.